Okay, so I got a bit distracted from the garden project when I was gifted this 15 kW Centurion generator by a wonderful brother and sister-in-law. Now this generator, I believe, is made by Generac. Now it's probably, I don't know, probably at least 15 years old, but it's, from what I understand, it's very low time. Only used a couple times, probably, maybe. There's the Generac logo information on there. A V-twin 32 horsepower OHVI engine. Got a 50 amp hookup, 15 kW. This will run the entire house. I won't have to turn switches off in the house and not run certain things. I'll be able to run the entire house as it is with this one. Very easy to maintain. It looks like all the parts I need to get to are very obtainable. The oil filter is very reachable, very nice. And there's a quick drain here for the oil as well, which is really cool. Just bring it over here and drain the oil out. Fuel pump, we recognize those from the mowers. You get that kink fixed up. There's the filter. I got a filter. We'll replace that. Before I start tearing in any of that, though, I want to make sure the starter motor cranks up. All this fuel line looks pretty good. Got a fuel cutoff switch. All this looks very good. It's still pliable. But anyway, we're gonna, probably the first thing I'll do is take that battery off and put it on a charger, because I know it's going to be dead, but we'll check it and see if that's going to need to be replaced first thing before we start doing anything else. I need to know it's going to turn over before I start changing the oil and doing all that kind of stuff. We got to get all this old fuel out of here. There's a bunch of fuel in there. I don't even want to take the cap off and smell it. It's probably very old. Okay, battery's probably toast. Doesn't even have 4 volts on it. I'll hook it up to the charger anyway to see what happens after a few hours, but it's probably going to need a new battery. Alright, so we got the battery on the charger. I'm going to take this fuel cap off here and see if I can smell what's in here. Well, actually, it still smells like fuel. Doesn't smell like turpentine or anything. Maybe they had some fuel preserver in here. I don't know. I'm not sure how old the fuel is. But actually, that smells like that would start. There's quite a bit of fuel in there, so if I have to drain that out, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna put it in. Alright, so we'll come back in a few hours and check out that battery. Okay, let's see if we can pop this air box off here. Actually, that doesn't look too bad. There's a couple of screws back here I need to take out before it'll come out. But it doesn't look too bad. But I will take it off and blow it out a little bit. There's the carburetor right there. I'm hoping I don't have to fool with that at all. But we'll see. This fuel smelled pretty good, so maybe it's not all gummed up. But we'll find out when we give it a try. Okay, so I had to charge this thing for... it's probably over the course of 2 days, about 20 hours. But 12.5 volts. We're going to see if this is enough to get a starter motor to turn over. I don't know if this is going to hold a charge or not, but we'll see. But yeah, so I'm going to get this back in the machine and see if we can get it to crank a little bit. Okay, so I'm not going to turn the fuel on. I don't want it to start, but I am going to check the oil here, make sure we got some in there. Just in case. Yeah, it actually looks really clean too. It's at the top of this dot right here, so it's full. It's actually full. So let's give this a crank, see what happens. Okay, so I hear the starter solenoid going, but the thing's not turning. It could still be the battery. Might not be enough amperage in it. I don't know. I have another good battery I can try, but I think I might take the cover off of here and see if I can crank that over to make sure it's not locked up. Okay, so rather than take that other battery out, I just jumpered the newer battery over, so we'll see what happens now. Alright, still nothing. Okay, so I'm going to take that cover off to make sure that this thing isn't locked up. Okay, it does turn a bit, but I think the compression from the two cylinders is making it difficult, but it's not. I'll tell you what, I'm going to take those spark plugs out just to see. Let me see if we can get this in here. Spark plug doesn't look too bad. I don't know about that gap. We'll check that. I'll get the other one out, then I can see if I can crank this thing. Okay, so the starter motor does turn the engine over. Basically, I basically unhooked the other battery that was in there instead of jumping battery to battery. So I don't know, there's something still wrong with the battery, but we'll get that squared away. But yeah, so we're not seized up, so we're ready to continue on. Okay, we just got our new oil filter delivered. Looks good. We still have the fuel filter and that 90-degree piece of fuel line coming, hopefully tomorrow. And we'll get them on. I'm not going to change the oil yet because the oil looked very clean coming off the dipstick. So I might drain a few drops out of the sump and see if it looks good and leave it for now. But the next thing I need to do is get that I want to get that old gasoline drained out. So we're going to work on that next. Okay, it looks like it's finished raining. I'm gonna let it drip for a little while. So that's probably, I don't know, 3.5 gallons. That's a 5-gallon jug. It's over half full, maybe 2/3 full. It looks pretty clean. I don't see anything floating around in there when I was looking closer at it. It looks really clean. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to keep it, or if I need to call the county to figure out where I can dispose of it. But I want this machine to be absolutely reliable, so I want fresh fuel in there. So all right, I'm going to get this hose hooked back up, and we'll see what's next. Okay, we got the vacuum hose for the fuel pump hooked back up. Got a new fuel filter. Got the plugs back in. Got the tank hooked back up. Now I need to put a little bit of gas in the tank and then open the valve and check for leaks, make sure nothing's leaking, and then we'll be able to, I think we'll be able to give this thing a crank. Okay, so I rolled this thing outside of the shop to try to get it started up here. Got the battery in. We have a 16-gallon tank, but I only put about a gallon of fuel in there. That's all we need for now. And check the oil one more time. Now I'm going to turn this gas valve on to make sure we don't have any leaks. All right, I'm going to pull the choke. Now we have a carburetor de-icer here. It takes bleed air from the manifold, exhaust manifold, to keep the carburetor from freezing up in the winter time. We won't need that right now. All right, I'm going to put this on the stand and see what happens. But right now I'm very happy. I hooked in a quick saw there to make sure that was working. Those jacks are working. Okay, I forgot one thing. There is one more thing I want to do. There's a spark arrestor in here that I want to take out and clean out and make sure it's still serviceable. Not that it's going to be a real issue around here, but it's actually required, I believe, by code for these things. If you're working in these areas, that it has to have a spark arrestor. Basically, it's just a cone-shaped screen in there. But I'll unscrew it, pull it out, see if I can clean it. If it's not, I'll replace it. Okay, so I think that's about it for now. Back in the shop. Looks like it's going to rain. It's supposed to rain here in an hour or so. I need to get the tractor back in here. But yeah, so that was very successful. It runs. I love it. Now, like I said, the only thing I really need to do is down there is check out the spark arrestor. That's there if you're running it in wooded areas or areas with lots of dry grass on the ground or whatever. The spark won't ignite the grass on fire. Yeah, I'm loving it. And I need to get a new dedicated battery for this thing. This is a battery for my one of my solar systems, solar power systems. Get that back there. But yeah, I'm very happy with this. Now, as I mentioned, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but I want to get an electrician to come out and put the jack in up by the power, where the power goes in the house there, to hook this up. I have the cable, the 50 amp cable to go to the house, but you know, I don't really want to do that myself. I've watched a lot of Google videos on that, YouTube videos, and it looks very easy to do, but you know, it's just something I prefer not to do. I'm gonna leave that to a professional. So yeah, that's about it. We're getting ready to head out to the beach here for a week in a couple of days. Myrtle Beach. I haven't been there in years. We go to Nag's Head most of the time, most years, but we're going to Myrtle Beach this year. So hopefully we'll have fun with that. Maybe I'll get some video to share with you guys. But anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Appreciate you hanging out with me here in the shop, looking at this thing. Yeah, there was really nothing to do. It was in good shape. We just refreshed it a little bit. Filters. So thank you again. Please like and comment, subscribe if you feel so inclined to do that. I'd really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye-bye.